Hello and welcome to this Java tutorial. So in order to control the execution flow, Java programming language provides two primary conditional constructs. One is if-else and another is switch case statement in Java, right? So in this chapter, we'll talk about if-else statement in Java in detail along with usage examples. So the first question is, what is exactly this conditional statement? And what is the meaning of controlling the execution flow? So how you can explain that is, as the complexity of code grows, right, you may have to branch to one of many blocks of code depending on the condition. So as an example, suppose you have to write code to determine whether person is eligible to vote or not, and criteria for that is that if age is greater than or equal to 18, then person can vote, otherwise can't vote. So how you can visualize is, so you may have age, right? You will get age. If it is greater than equal to 18, then person can vote. This is one branch. If age is less than 18, then can't vote, right? This is another branch. So this is your condition right here. If age is greater than equal to 18, you can check that with age, or less than 18. And based on that, you can take either of these flows, right? Conditional flow. So you have conditional statement based on age. If age is greater than equal to 18, you go this way. You take this flow. If it is less than 18, you take this flow. That's what we mean by these terms: conditional statement and controlling the execution flow, right? Making sense? Or if you want, we can have multiple branches also. So suppose you can take this one. Suppose in an educational institution, we have this kind of grading system, right? If you have this much percentage, then grade is A. If percentage is between 80 to 89%, then grade is B, and so on, right? Then if you see, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 flows here. We get percentage of marks. Then based on the condition, if it is in this range 90 to 100, then grade is A. 80 to 89, then B, then C or D or E. So you have many execution flows here, right? So your code can take one of these many branches. So that is the whole idea of having condition and going to one of the flow. Now, as we said, one of the conditional statement is if else. So this if else can be used in several different forms actually, depending on the complexity and your requirement. So you may use only if statement, or you may use if else. You may use if else if ladder, where you may have multiple else if, or there is also nested if statement. We'll go one by one through these statements and see with some code examples also how to use them. Okay, so first kind is if statement itself, only single if statement. So if statement in Java is used to test a condition, and it will execute the block of code only if this condition evaluates to true. If the condition is false, then it'll skip this whole block from here to here, right? It will directly come to whatever is written after this whole if block. And syntax is like this: if, then you have condition in round brackets, then curly braces. Within that, what you write becomes your if block. And if there is only a single statement within the if condition, then these braces are optional. You can write your code without using these curly braces in that case. So let's take an example to see how it actually works. So once we are in IDE, what I'll do is create a new package for this, so that we can group all the condition related code. So basics dot, name it conditions only. So conditions, and within that I can create a new class now. Let's name it if demo. So suppose here what I can do is, suppose I have int I equal to 20. And then suppose I have to check if I is greater than 10, then only I want to go in this block. And here I can write something. I is greater than 10, right? And let's write here also something after if statement. So if I run it, 20 is greater than 10, yes, so this will be true, so it will enter this block. That is why we are getting I is greater than 10, and then it will continue with the next statement, which is after if statement. Now suppose I is 8. In this case, 8 is greater than 10, false, so it will skip this whole if block, and we come directly to this, right? We don't get this line, ninth line printed, because I is not greater than 10 right now, and it won't enter this if block. So one thing, since we have single statement, so we can skip this, will still work, but it is true only for single statement. Let's make it 18 to check. So I is greater than 10. But if I write one more statement here, then this will be actually executed unconditionally. This only will be executed conditionally. So right now it may look true. I is greater than 10 because it is 18, and it will come here for condition, but to check it truly, we have to make it 8. Now if you see, it will come for this as a condition, and since condition is false, this is not printed, but this line will be printed because that is not part of the condition. If you want to have multiple statements and still want them to be executed conditionally, then you have to use curly braces. Only single statement you can give without curly braces. Now you won't get, because both are part of this if condition. So that's how it behaves for a single statement with or without curly braces. So take note of that. You can also have multiple conditional statements here. So you can give more than one condition. In this case, suppose I want to check with range, that if number lies between 10 and 20, what I can write in that case is if I greater than equal to 10 and I is less than equal to 20, right? It has to be greater than or equal to 10 and I is less than equal to 20. Then I can just I is between 10 and 20. So right now if I run it, it won't go there because I is 8. Anyway, this will be false. And in case of and 1 is false, that means it won't even go to this condition. If I make it 18, then it will go because 18 is in between 10 and 20. Or if I give 20 itself, let's say. So I is between 10 and 20. 20 is greater than 10, yes. 20 less than equal to 20, it is at least equal to. So both are true. So it will go within this block. So that is how you can use multiple statement also with conditional and conditional or based on your requirement. Another form of if statement is the if-else statement. So with if-else statement, you can also define an alternate execution path when the condition evaluates to false. So you also cater to otherwise part, right? If this condition is true, then do this, otherwise do this. So you will cater to both condition is true or condition is not true, right? So both of these scenarios you will be able to handle with if else. So if condition evaluates to true, then if block is executed. If this condition evaluates to false, then else block is executed. If we take this same example which we discussed here, right, page 1, then let's try to do that using if else. We have if demo. Let's create another class if else demo. Within that, let's say we have a variable age where we give some age 25, let's say in the beginning, and let's create it as a separate method. Public, I'll create it as a static, will display here itself, so we don't return anything. So void vote or not, which gets age, right? Now based on that I can write the logic. If age is greater than equal to 18, then I can print you can vote, else you can't vote. Now I can call it from here. So we are passing 25 to age. So 25 greater than equal to 18, yes. So you can vote. We change it to 15. You can't vote, right? 15 is greater than equal to 18, false. False means it will come to the else part. So you are handling both the scenarios, when condition is true, when condition is false. So that is what you can do with if else. So if you have such requirement where you have to handle both scenarios, then you use if else statement. So yet another form of if statement is if else if ladder, where you can have multiple else if conditions also. So if you have to evaluate multiple conditions sequentially, then you can use this if else if ladder kind of statement, because it allows you to chain several if and else if statements together. That is the idea of using if else if. If you have multiple conditions to evaluate, right, that's when you will use it. So each if and else if statement has a condition, and that particular block will be executed if that condition is true, right? Whichever condition is true, that block will be executed. And you can have an optional else also. If none of the condition is true, then that else block runs, right, if it is there, because it is optional. So syntax will be something like this. You will have if with one condition, then you can have else if with another condition, then yet another else if, then you can have many such else if based on how many conditions you have. Then you can have else. So if all of these conditions return false, then you will come to else, right? That's how you can create this kind of condition. We can do the same thing using if else if, because we have multiple conditions here, right? Let's try to do the same thing. All right, so if we have to display the grade based on the percentage of marks, then if we have to do it using if else if, then how we can do that? That is what we are going to do in this code. I've already created a class, and this is what we have to do, our requirement. For that also, I'll create a separate method, because we have already done that topic, methods in Java. We've not gone through. Try to go through that and start practicing with separate methods rather than writing everything in main method. So here we can take the variable, let's name it percentage, and initially let's say 85. Then we can have a class. I'll make it static only, and let's say we have to return this time. So one char will return, right? So we can have a char calculate grade based on the percentage. I'm taking it as int only, not double. So percentage can be in decimal also, right? But let's take it as int only. So first condition is if percentage is greater than or equal to 90 and percentage is less than equal to 100, right? And we can take one air grade equal to air grade. Then here we can give it a value of a, right? We have single statement, so I'm not using curly braces. Then we can use else if here, and for that condition will be, let's copy this and change within that, 80 to 89, right? Greater than equal to 80, less than equal to 89. Then grade will be B. Same way we can have one more else if, where we'll check with 70 and 79, grade will be C. Yet another else if, because we have with 60 and 69 also. 69 grade is D. We have come here, then I can give else grade equal to F, right? And here I can say return grade. Grade will be returned. So while we are calling it, we can get the grade passing the percentage and print here percentage of marks plus percentage grade. We'll print both. Now with this, if we run, percentage of marks 85, grade is B, right? Because this will be false. So percentage is not falling within this range. So we won't go into this if, and it will come to this else if. Here also we have a condition. It will fall in this, right? It is greater than equal to 80. Yes, 85 is greater than 80, less than 89. Yes, so both are true. So grade is B. Now let's say we change it to 55. We get grade as F, correct? If we make it, let's say 97, then grade is A, right? If you want, you can put some validation also here. If percentage is passed greater than 100 or less than 0, then wrong percentage given, right? If percentage is greater than 100 or percentage is less than 0, you can just say wrong value given. In this case, what we can do is we can return, let's say, some other character X, which shows that you have the wrong grade. Now let's say I give 106. With that, if we run it, that wrong value given, percentage of mark 106, grade is X, which shows that this is a wrong value, right? So that's how we can do validation also. Or if we give, let's say, -5 here or -7, wrong value given, percentage of marks -7, grade is X, right? So that's how you can write some validation also. One more thing, if you notice here, though for readability this is better, but if we skip this part, then also it will work. If we give only this much, let's do for these two only, and then I give, say, 85. So grade is B, because anyway this will take, if it is more than 90 or equal to 90, then, and here if you see, we are catering to less than, um or we can say range 70 to 79, so it will come to this only, right, if it is 85. So that way also we can do, but yeah, this makes it more readable. Let's keep it like this. We are checking within this range or this range or this range. Okay, so 77 we get it as C. So that's how you can use if else if ladder. So we have seen three scenarios, and based on your requirement you can use any of these if statement. You can use a single if, you can use if else, or you can use if else if, like this also. Now there is one more scenario where you can nest if within another if. So nested if statement means within a if you can write another if else. So coming to nested if else statements, you can have if else statement inside another if else statement in Java. That is also possible, which is known as nested if else statement. So it is useful when you need to perform hierarchical decision making, where one of your condition depends on the outcome of another. If this condition is true, then only you have to check another condition, right? So one condition depending on the outcome of another. That kind of scenario, you can use nested if else. So as an example of nested if else, let's take this scenario. Right, so for that actually I've created a new class nested if demo. In that I'm going to do, and the scenario is this. So prevailing interest rate is 6.5% annually, let's say. Now if the person's age is between 60 and 75, then you can add 0.5% to the interest rate. That means if age is between this, then they'll get 7%. If age is 75 or greater than that, then add 1% to the interest rate. In that case, you can add 1% to the interest rate. Otherwise, person gets the prevailing interest rate. So we have these scenarios. So how we can use it using nested if? What we can do is, let's say interest rate equal to 6.5, right? This will be your prevailing rate, double, not it. And let's say int age equal to 50. And we'll create a new method to do it. Public static, I display here itself. Public static void calculate interest rate, where I can pass both double, let's say ROI, rate of interest, and int age. Now I can check if age is greater than equal to 60. If yes, then here itself I can create a nested if age is greater than or equal to 75. If yes, then we can add ROI equal to ROI plus 1. Else, we can do ROI equal to ROI plus 0.5, right? So if age is greater than or equal to 60, in that case, I will go into this if block, right? It will enter this if block in that case, right? If age is greater than equal to 60. Then you can again check if age is greater than or equal to 75. Yes, right? Then you add 1 to the interest rate. Otherwise, in which range? If you come here, your age will be between 60 to 74, right? In this case, age will be 75 or 75 plus, correct? Else, no change, right? ROI will be ROI only. So if we don't give this, then also okay. Just to show you, we don't actually need it. And if we come here, then interest rate is plus or I, right? And we can call it get interest rate with interest rate and age. Interest rate is 6.5 for age 50. Now if we change it to 80, then interest rate is 7.5, because in this case we'll add 1. Let's say 61. Then 7, because in this case we'll add 0.5. Right? 60. Also 7. If we make it 70, then also it is 7.0. If I make it 75, then it is 7.5, right? So if you see, that's what we are doing in nested if statement. We have one statement first, right, where we check if age is greater than equal to 60. If it is, then only we check for another condition. If it is greater than equal to 75, if that is the case, then we add 1 to the interest. Otherwise, we add 0.5. That way we do one check, within that we do another check as a nested if else, right? Within this if, we have this if else. So that's how you can do nested if else. Here, as I showed, we can have else also as a outer if, right? For that if we can have else, but here it is not needed. Suppose we had a condition that if less than 60, in that case rate of interest should be rate of interest minus 0.5. Then we could have written here, right, ROI equal to ROI minus 0.5 as a else condition. Here we don't have that requirement. Then we get prevailing interest rate only, so we don't need. Then we go with the current rate, which is 6.5. So that is about nested if else statement, which can be very handy in some scenarios. So these are our different forms of if. We have seen if statement, you need only single if, nothing else, then you can use it like this. If you have that kind of scenario, if this condition is true, then do this, otherwise do this, then you can use if else. Or if you have this kind of requirement, if this happens, then do this, otherwise if this happens, then do this, otherwise if this happens, then you will have this scenario, right? If else if ladder. Or you can also use nested if, where one condition is true, then only you can check another condition. So in that kind of scenario, you can use nested if. So we have gone through some of the scenarios, showed the code examples also. So try to practice yourself also some scenarios. I'll give an exercise also for this as a separate video actually for conditional statement. So you can practice there also. Thanks for watching the video. Please don't forget to like and subscribe.